whatever way I roll, you roll, if we're best friends. And so for me, it was kind of, from that moment forward, it was just kind of earth-shattering. Fast forward a few years forward, she finds out that her husband is cheating, that he's been cheating for years. And she ends up having an affair with one of his friends, and reports that to me. I never really have any response for any of it because I felt so uncomfortable. I just tried to listen and let it go. So she decides one day that she wants me to help her to set her husband up, to have to tell her the truth. So she wants me to work with her, create a scenario where all the parties are going to be at play, and he has no choice but to say, okay, I did it. And I just couldn't do it. I discussed it at the time with a cousin of mine who's a minister, that's just a year older than me, and his response was, people are upset when they find out information like this, but if they genuinely don't want to lose their marriage, what's going to happen is they're going to end up turning on you, which is what ended up happening. But I declined to help her with the setup. I did express my opinion that I felt like they were even now. It doesn't matter how many years he's done it, suppose how many years you've done it. And our friendship just kind of dissolved. She did stay in her marriage. It was never talked about again. But for whatever reason, I was shut out. So I just kind of feel like with marriages and really close, intimate relationships, people living in the same house, I'm of the opinion to just stay out of it. If there's a way to let someone know anonymously, I think that's the best way to do it. But otherwise, I just prefer to stay out of it.
So would you had, if you could go back, would you had told him anonymously?
No. That's on the outside looking in, we had conversations about, if you see my husband, if I see your husband, I will definitely, give him the option. You tell her, I tell her. But when it happened, I built relationships with the entire family. I was in the delivery room with her when she had her only child, and I was friends with, both of their parents, or stepchild. So at that point, I just felt like if this marriage falls apart, I don't want any part of it. I want them to stay together. They're actually really good for each other, very well matched in terms of compatibility. So I just wasn't able to do it. I just felt sick the entire time. I didn't want any parts of it.
Okay, and I can understand that. And thank you for sharing that story.
Can I follow on what you said too? Because
Sure.
Yeah. So no, the funny thing, like what Chanel was saying. This is Kat, by the way. The same thing happens. Like what I noticed is with divorce, with couples. And Chanel, your story was similar to what I shared earlier. I just won't let you know, but. What I do notice is this is a tendency with people that are going into these divorce situations. If you go to your friend and you tell her what's going on, for some reason, unless she's not really your friend, she'll go based off of oh yeah, so and so told me this, and at the end, sometimes the woman will take the guy's side and then turn on you and say, okay, you're not a real friend. You're trying to traumatize this marriage and all that stuff, and let it go downhill. And so that's the common thing, and that's why I say especially with divorce and all of that, whether your friend's going through that situation, it's better just to be their ears rather than giving them advice.
Yeah, I agree. Well.
Yeah. So I just wanted to share that because it's so funny she said that.
No problem.
Can I say something?
Sure, Kay.
It's really interesting how this topic has been brought up and Kat's story and Chanel's story, because this is something, these particular in the middle scenarios are something that I struggled with almost the entire time through my 20s while I was married to my husband, because when I married him, I also pretty much married into his culture. And became friends with all of his friends and all of their girlfriends and all of that. And the males would often, when their girlfriends weren't around, would bring other women. And it was something that was extremely common, and it would just bother my soul. Oh, Lord, you have no idea how it would bother my soul, because I cannot, not only do I hate cheaters, but just the fact that I have no filter made it worse. And I would be struggling with, I really wanted, because some of these girls I would become friends with, and then the men, when they weren't around, they'd be bringing these other females. And I'm like, I can't sit here and watch this happen. Like, I cannot be a part of this. And they would tell me, some of the other females would tell me, you don't want to get involved. If you tell her, she's going to turn on you. She'll feel like you're trying to break the relationship. And I'm like, but he's a dog. How can I sit still through this? It was really a struggle for most of my marriage while I was friends with these girls that my husband's friends were dating. It was a serious struggle. There was one point when it even became a serious family issue, because my brother-in-law, my husband's brother, his older brother, would bring a different woman other than his main girlfriend into, because we moved temporarily to Minnesota right after the crash of 2008. It was in about 2012, 2013. We moved to Minnesota, and we were staying temporarily with his brother. And I knew his brother's main girlfriend, like she and I were friends. And when she wasn't around, he would bring this other woman in the house. And I was like, I'm not okay with this. Like, I'm not going to be your accomplice in this. And his main girlfriend came by one day and was like, is he keeping a woman here? Tell me. And I was like, yeah, he is. And that it literally caused a huge family problem, to the point where me and my brother-in-law, up until that point, we had been cool. Like, I looked up to him. I would go to him with my problems about my husband, and he would talk to my husband for me if there was anything wrong. And up to that point, he and I were cool. And after that, it was like, it just did a complete 180. It nearly broke some serious relationships in the family. So, yeah.
Okay. And I can imagine that being a hard thing, and just having to like keep secrets with people that you were friends with.
Right, and it wasn't even because I was friends with my brother-in-law. I was friends with him, but I had been cheated on by my husband, and I understand how painful that is. I understand the trauma. I understand the betrayal. I understand the hurt and the pain, and I just can't stand to be a part. I don't ever want to be a part of something like that. Never. I would rather just, I never want to be a part of that. And so for him to bring it into the house, to force me to be a part of it, whether I liked it or not, I couldn't take it. I couldn't do it.
I think the reason why you were like that too is because it was maybe like a reflex because of what you went through. And sorry to interrupt you, but it was a reflex. And the thing is like, it's just funny how, like, even with friends in general, like, you think they're your real friends when you're just trying to seek some advice, or they're trying to seek advice from you. But then once you put your 2 cents in, they all turn on you. And that's what I've noticed, too, like, in female relationships. And that's why, like, it's hard to find female friends, because not all of them, but girls, you tend to trust girls so easy because you think you have that connection. But then all of a sudden they just turn on them or, like, whoever it is. Like, the tendency is you get so close, you get, you get vulnerable and all that, even, like, with your friends, and it's just sad when they turn on you, you know?
Yeah, and that, I agree with that. It is frustrating when a friend does turn on you. And I appreciate everyone in their comments and all the great stories that we're actually spreading. And I'm just going to take a quick break, and then we'll continue with our question on our topic, which is, when is it okay to mind your own business?
Hello, everyone. This is Kay bringing you your trending topics. Today, a man forced his way into a Florida Walmart after he was denied entry over his lack of a mask. Both workers and shoppers tried to urge him to wear a mask. The older Caucasian male continued to fight his way through the store before finally agreeing to leave. That's your trending news for today. Please remember that we all should take care of each other during these times to stay healthy and safe. Now, back to you.
Okay, for that ad break. And yeah, we definitely, with the time, I know that we're talking about when is it okay to mind your business. We definitely should be looking to at least keep ourselves protected, and where we're not spreading germs, and we're just really taking care of ourselves. But now moving on with our line of questions, it looks like we did get a new caller with their last 4 digits of their phone number is 4215. Looks like they have a Georgia area code. Are you available to speak, caller?
Anyone that's listening in.
Okay,
Hello?
no problem. Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, I'm just listening.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so I'm going to move on, and I'm going to ask you, Tawanda, has there ever been a scenario where you wish that you would have spoke up and took action?
Well, I wish I would have spoke up and took action. I'm pretty sure there is. I'm just trying to think of an actual situation, because most of the time I do. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure, but yeah, I can't think of a situation. My mind just kind of went blank.
Okay. And is it something you can always, chime in? And I'm going to ask you, Kay, was there ever a scenario situation where you wish that you spoke up or took action?
Let me think. It's hard to think of a scenario right now where I wish that. Oh, yes, I have one. Okay. A long time ago, when my oldest, she's 14 now, was in strollers, so she must have been about maybe 3 years old, so that was a long time ago. Maybe 2. No, because she still had a diaper bag, so she had to have been between maybe 2 and 3. Anyways, I was in California, and I was going to the Barnes & Noble bookstore, and I went in there, stroller and diaper bag and all, with my baby in the stroller, and I was, gathering books to go and buy at the counter. So I get to the counter, and I'm in line, and there are a couple women in front of me who also have babies in strollers and diaper bags, and they pay for their stuff. And when I get to the register, this woman at the counter, I hand my books over, and she looks at me and she says, "Are you sure you don't have something in the diaper bag?" And I look at her like stunned, like absolutely speechless, because I'm like, if I was going to stick something in the diaper bag, why would I have come to the counter? But I didn't say anything. I said, no, I don't have anything in the diaper bag, and I paid for my stuff and left. And it wasn't until I walked outside, like maybe half the way to the car, that I started to get angry. Like it took a second for it to kick in. Like I was so shocked by her asking me that I wasn't angry at first. And it took for me to get outside for me to get angry. So I came back in the store, and I asked to speak to the supervisor because the woman at the counter had disappeared. And I told her that the woman at the counter just asked me if I had something hidden in my bag, but there were 2 other women ahead of me who had diaper bags, and she didn't ask them that. And she just brushed it off. She was like, "Oh, well, this and that, and I'm sorry, you know, blah, 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 whatever. And I had to leave, like, you know, because I couldn't find the woman who had done it to tell her off.